Hey guys, this is Vishal Dandote, and in this video, we will see the most important interview question, and that is what is the polyfill and how we can create our polyfill script or the polyfill functions. So, before we see the practical example, let's discuss what is polyfill and how we can create our polyfill scripts. So, polyfill is nothing but uh, the script or the functions which we will create to support for all the browsers. So what it means, like, the some browsers are not supporting to the latest feature into the javascript. Let's say, for example, if you have a filter function and that might be not working into the net explorer or any other browser, in that case we should use another function for the same functionality to support that particular browser. So that is called polyfill. So keep in mind, whenever we we have the browser and that browser is not supporting to the particular functionality, in that case we need to create the another script to support for all the browsers. Like, one functionality will support to all the browsers, that's why we are use the polyfill. And also you heard word about the, like, browser compatibility means it that functionality, that particular functionality will work for all the browsers. And this, like, some applications or some framework contain this file, or in the some cases we need to create the polyfill scripts. So let's say, for example, in a angular we can have the polyfill dot json file. It will resolve, or it has that kind of features which will um, work in all the browsers, like everything which we have used into the angular application, that might be latest feature or old feature, that will all work into the all the browsers. So like that, we can simply answer. So whenever we need to answer, polyfill is a nothing but the part of resolve our browser compatibility issue. And whenever we need to resolve our browser compatibility issue, we need to create the custom function for that particular functionality, or we can have the separate script for it. So in this way you can answer for that particular question. And let's see, if we ask someone to create the polyfill, how we can do that. So for that, we can simply, let's say, before we create the actual polyfill, let's see how we will get the requirement. So sometimes we will get the requirement like write a custom function which will work same like as a predefined filter function, and we will get all the filter items from that function. For example, let's say const, and here we will see array arr, and here we can have 1 2 3 and 4. And using the filter function which is predefined in the javascript, we need to get all the array element which are less than 3. So it means 1 and 2. So how can we do that? So in the filter we can simply say const filtered items, and here we will write our filter function. So filter arr dot filter, and in the filter it will accept one callback function. So here we need to define one callback, and here we will simply say item is less than 3. So whenever we will write this condition, it will give us that two element which are there into the array. So 1 and 2. So for that we can simply say console.log, and here we can say filter items, and simply we can run the code and see the output. So for that I will go to my terminal, and using the node command I will execute my code. So node and index dot, so here index dot yes, and you can see we have two elements now. So in some browser, let's say our filter will not going to work. So what we need to do? So here we need to create our custom filter which will replace only this filter function which is predefined, and we need to keep the same line which we are using for the predefined function. So we are not going to change our filter code. I mean, this line we will just change the function name. So in that case, what we need to do? So we need to create the polyfill function. So for that, we can simply say, whenever we need to create or attach any function on the array, like as an array method, in that case, we should use prototype, or we need to use the prototype. So what is the prototype? So prototype will add or a dynamic method, or we can say prototype method for that particular element. So how prototype will work? So let's say we have array class, or in the javascript we can say it is the object, and in the object what we need to attach? We need to attach the prototype properties. So it is the extra properties. So for now, let's say on the array, if that doesn't find the custom filter function, it will goes to its prototype and search for that particular method. If it is found, then it will return the result from that particular method. So here I will simply say prototype and custom filter, and here we can simply assign our function. So, and this function will get one callback. So what, why we need to get callback? So as you use here, we need to get one callback function, and here we can simply say, now in this function we need to write our custom logic. So for that, we can simply iterate our array. So I will going to use here for of loop, and here I will say item and of arr. So it will get every item of the array and pass to the callback function. So I will pass the item here, and we will have another one function which is nothing but this, right? And this will return us the element which is less than 3. So for that, we can simply say it will get the item, and here I will say return, sorry, this should be if, and here we will say uh, okay, return item. And whenever item is less than 3, it will return the items. So what we need to change here now? We need to change, um, we are passing the callback, and we will get the result here. So const item, or no, this should not be item, so it will filter item, or filter item. Okay, filter item, and we can simply create one array here. So const filtered item, like this, and into this array we will simply say item filter item not equal to undefined, then what we need to do? We need to push filter item dot filtered item dot push. What we need to do? What we need to push? Filter item. Else, don't do anything. So in this case, what we will return? We will return our filter item array from this function. So filter item items. So this should be items because this will contain more than one element. And in this case, if you call this function and try to run, you will get the same result which you were getting from actual filter function. Oh, sorry, we didn't change our custom filter with the predefined filter. And if you run this code, so what error we are getting? Error dot custom filter is not a function. Okay, okay. So why it is happening? In this case, we are adding the property on array after we are using with. So as you know, JavaScript will run top to bottom, and in this case we are adding our property next when this function is getting called. So for this scope we need to move this function after the custom filter, and if you run this code you can see the same output which we will get, which we were getting from our predefined filter. So in this way you can create your polyfill functions. So what we have done here, so basically we have created our own custom filter which will support for all the browsers, rather than the predefined functions. So that's it. I hope you get how to attach the prototype methods on the array, and how we can write our polyfill script. So thank you so much guys for the watching.